Hi everyone, this is Jan with What You Make It, and I am excited to be bringing you another episode in our Creative Play series. And the purpose of today's, or the theme of today's, is asking yourself, what else? When I sat down to play with these very small canvases, I wanted to take some of the creative play I've been doing and say, what else can I do with that? And that is a great thing to use as a way to kind of overcome that paralysis of perfection, is to say, okay, I've learned some things about this. What else can I do? So let me show you some of the products that I used to create this. To begin with, I started off with this small canvas. If you go to my blog, I've actually done several canvases. Some of them are square, like this one, and some of them are rectangular. So all of these things that you see here are things that I have been playing around with in some of my other creative playtime, and I'm continuing to play with them. But I wanted to ask myself, what else can I do with them? So here's some things that I have. I have multi-medium, Claudine Helmuth Studio multi-medium, and I have some tissue paper. You've seen me use this Seven Gypsies tissue paper. This is one that has a lot of words on it. Going to be very cool. I have a jar of Distress Crackle Paint in the clear rock candy, and that is going to be a part in it. And I have several Lindy Starburst stains or Starburst sprays, and I have some Distress ink. I also have some white, the Picket Fence Crackle Distress Paint. And let me just show you what I did. I'm going to move these things out of the way and I'll be right back. Okay, so the first thing we want to do with our canvas, when you buy these, they are wood framed with stretch canvas, and they're already pre-primed, so that you don't really need to put gesso or anything else on them. They're ready for us to go. And so I'm going to start by adding my text tissue paper. Now, if you don't have this, why don't you feel, I want you to feel totally free. I think I'm going to go lengthwise here. Feel totally free to take some Stays-On ink and stamp on just some gift tissue paper. That's a good substitute for this if you don't have this same product. I'm just using things that I had. So I'm going to use my multi-medium both as my glue on here and as my sealant. So I want to start by putting a good coating of our multi-medium right here. And I usually keep a brush that is designated to be my multi-medium brush, because I don't want to get one all gunky and then just go on to another one. So I keep this brush as my multi-medium. When you have that layer on, let's go ahead and put our tissue paper on here. And I've chosen a area, but here's the thing. I want to add some texture to it. So I don't want it to be all smooth. I want there to be some interesting crumpling and shapes and all of that. So I put that down. So I'm going to go back on top of this and add another layer of this, and I'm going to put a little multi-medium on the sides here. Bring that around and rub that down. I'm going to do that on all four sides, and then I'm going to set it aside and let it dry. And now we're just going to dab this all over this canvas. And the reason that you're not seeing it stain the tissue paper is because our multi-medium actually kind of seals it. And so this stain is going to be on top of, I'm going to rub a little on the sides here as well. The stain is going to sit on top of that, and that's where we get the ability to see through and see some of the words. I'm just going to add some different colors here. This was Tibetan Poppy Teal, and now I'm going to put some Tiffany Blue on here. Liking that. And let's see. Let's go ahead and actually, sorry, I hit the tripod here. So used to my camera being up above that it's kind of driving me a little crazy here. Okay, I'm going to turn this off while I dry this, and I'll be right back. And because we left all those little crinkles in the tissue paper, it has given us some really interesting texture and pattern there. So now comes the part where I really, in our creative play, where I was actually asking the question, what else? And I'm going to now apply some of my Distress Crackle Paint in White Picket Fence. Of course, it would help if I would show it on camera. Sorry guys, I really am. This is my backup method for taping, and I apologize that I'm not really sure where my camera is and all of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use a toothpick, almost like a going to get a little of this off. I don't want to spread it on really thick. I'm going to use this kind of as a spatula, and I just want to put it in some places, and I want to scrape it across here. You see what I'm doing? So it's not going on in a totally thick layer. I want some places to be very thin because I want to be able to still see the words. And here's what I discovered when I did this last time. I actually thought that I was putting this on and I would probably get a white, almost gesso kind of look to it. But I wanted to see what the crackle paint does. Well, one of the things that's cool about the crackle paint when you put it on top of pigmented liquid ink is it begins to take on the color of the ink that was underneath it. So you can see here we had a very white spot when we started, and the picket fence is absorbing that color. Pretty cool, huh? So I'm going to dry that. See, this is the fun part of creative play. First we ask, what if? What if I put this and this together? And then I start saying, what else can I do with what I have? It is, some of you all have participated in me in the thing I call the Stash Diet Challenge. And this is actually a kind of an outpouring of that. When I ask what else can I do with things that are already in my stash, I don't have to go find something new to, or buy something new. I want to see what else I can do with what I have. So now that that's dry, you can see there's a really nice combination of the glimmer and the crackle paint. And the crackle paint has taken on the color of the inks that were underneath it. So for this one, what I did, you can kind of see down in here where that crackle, the white is in there. And the next thing I did was I said, well, let's go one step further and let's put some Distress Crackle Paint in Clear Rock Candy on top of this. Because in putting on the white paint, we did not really get, we we didn't get much crackle because it really absorbed the color that was underneath it. So I'm going to put a very liberal coating on here. And I need to work fairly quickly because I want it to get a good layer, but I want to be careful not to get too much of this ink bleeding through and on my brush when I dip it back in. If you get a little bit, you can clean it. You can clean it out. Okay, so we're going to let that dry, but that's how I made this canvas, and it all came from me asking what else. So I hope that you are out there and you're looking at your supplies and you're saying this week to yourself, what else can I do? And I'll be back with another installment, hopefully in a few days. And please just pray that my computer gets fixed soon so that I can get back to doing our lessons in a way that actually is much more efficient and easy for you all to see what I'm doing. I will be this week working on a really special project. And so, you know, the thing that I love the most about scrapbooking and crafting and that sort of thing is that when I got started with it, it really was about documenting things for my family. And this week I am working on maybe the most special project that I have ever worked on in my life. And that is, we're coming up on the year anniversary of Royce getting his kidney transplant. And as a family, we have said we want to send a gift of gratitude to the family of the gentleman who, when he died, gave his kidney to Royce. And we're doing a thank you mini album for them. It's going to be, I'll share it with you, but I'm starting work on it this afternoon, and we have asked several people in Royce's life to write some letters of gratitude, telling what the difference it's made in Royce's life. And he's writing a letter, and I'm making a mini album that has a place for each one of those letters. And then we're leaving a place at the back of the book for them to put their own letter in there so that they have an opportunity to be a participant in that mini album. And I'm actually making 2 of them because I'm making one for our family as well. I think those letters are going to be really precious, and I want our son to have them years from now when his dad and I are gone and this has become a distant memory. We want him to have just that legacy of how blessed we were. God blessed us so greatly in the gift of this kidney, and thank you is never going to be enough to the family. We didn't want to do something right when we got the transplant, because we knew the emotion of having lost their loved one would be so raw and painful that it would be hard for them to hear our joy and appreciation, because that man gave life to our family. So I probably am going to concentrate on that this week, and maybe while I'm working on that, my silly computer will get fixed and we'll be back to doing things normally. But that's what I'm going to be working on, and if you will think of me, I want this to be perfect. I want to know, not perfect in our paralysis of perfection, but I want to be able to communicate to them how much the gift of that kidney meant to us. And I don't want to hurt them. I want to encourage them that their gift changed our lives. And so in that sense, I want it to be perfect. I'm not worried about there being smudged paint or something not being totally in the right place. But I'll share some of that with you as we go along. And as I said, I'm really hoping that by the time I get around to doing the next one of these Creative Play videos, we'll have my computer back that I can use the camera the way I usually do. Love you guys. Thank you so much for playing along with me in this Creative Play series, and I hope you will take some time for some creative play yourself. Bye for now.